And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
This is episode 31. My guest is Mikail Farrar. I've met Mikail at a little app called TikTok. He was talking about how success is defined by each individual and it's whatever you want, which was basically the definition of my show. So I was really excited to have him. He was born in Kansas City, raised in Maryland. He's the son of a college professor and a lawyer. He's had a few different jobs along the way. He has a rap album, a book, and a few TikTok followers, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the exciting things he has done. Mikail, welcome to the show.
What's up? I'm so excited to be here, man. I can't believe it.
I've been watching you for a while now. I think we talked on the phone a couple of days ago about how I've been on TikTok for about 6 months, and I think you were probably one of the first people that I followed and just, you know, talking about FedEX and talking about a couple different things, car videos, and you throw on that wig every once in a while. And it's just, there's so many different avenues. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yeah. I had the wig on tonight, actually. So I made a TikTok right before I came on with you. So
that's awesome.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. To me, I'm kind of a boring guy, but a lot of people find me interesting. So I try to give them what they want. But yeah, I was born in the Midwest, but didn't stay out there too long. Shortly after, we moved around from place to place. I actually made a 5-year stop in Saudi Arabia. I lived in Saudi Arabia for 5 years.
Oh, smokes.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I was riding on camels and doing the whole nine. My parents weren't in the military or anything, but my dad had a job with the Department of Transportation, and he got a job helping design the railroad system out there. And, took me with him. So, but after that, I came back and I was raised in Flower Hill, Maryland, which pretty much shaped who I am. Met, really good friends and that I'm still friends with today. But and here I am.
So did you play any sports or anything in high school or anything like that? What kind of led to this? I feel like you're kind of a little bit of an actor. Did you have drama class? What was your avenue when you were in school?
I wanted to see, when I was young, if you wanted to be an actor, you were just a dork. That was just a no-no if you wanted to get girls or be cool or popular or sit at the cool lunch table with the cool kids. So any kind of glee class or acting class was a no-no. So I was a jock. I mean, I was on the varsity basketball team for 3 years. And I was pretty decent, but I was kind of a role player. There was plenty of superstars on my team that did all the scoring. I was just out there to play defense, rebound. But I was able to get a scholarship to college, even though I wasn't that good at basketball. But, something did come out of it. But yeah, I was, leather jacket, that was me, basketball. I just was obsessed with being the best athlete. I went to school one day in high school wearing a full leotard. I mean, just, twigs and berries, imprint showing, just everything. and I just called out everybody. I was like, I'm the fastest guy in the school, and I'll challenge anybody right now on the track at lunchtime, whoever wants to race. And I was ready. And I didn't lose, but not too many people came out to race me. But I didn't lose.
So you talked a little bit about, kind of your family dynamic and things like that when you're growing up. Your dad was a lawyer and your mom was a college professor, correct?
Yeah, she wasn't always a professor. Around the time when I was young, she was an English teacher in high school. She was actually the English teacher at the high school I was going to, which was very awkward for me and a little uncomfortable at times. But she actually got a few more degrees later in life and went on from teaching high school English to teaching English on the college level. And I think she still does online, just whenever she feels like it, really. But yeah, you can kind of tell by the way I speak, there wasn't a lot of slang allowed in the house growing up. My dad was very proper, and so was my mother. So I wasn't allowed to, mispronounce words or, come in the house like, yo, ma, all this and that. So they were very professional. So, of course, because, that kind of got on my nerves, I wanted to do the opposite. And that's why I started rapping. I figured what would piss off my parents the most, who are just super professional, just like the Huxtables on TV, what would piss them off the most? Okay, I'm going to be a gangster rapper. That's what I'm going to do. So I started rapping with a friend of mine, and we had silly names at the time. My name was Pooh Bear. That was my rap name. Real hard, right? And my friend's name was Too Smooth, and we used to just make mixtapes. I don't know if you know how mixtapes were made in the 90s, but we would take two boom boxes. If we would play the beat on one boom box and put it across from the other one with the blank tape and hit record, and you have a mic plugged in, and you just put your face in the middle, and it just ridiculous.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, yeah. But I should have just been studying and trying to follow in my parents' footsteps. But I wanted to be a little rebel. So what are you going to do?
So you went to college to play basketball. You didn't quite finish, right? So what happened from there? Is that where I know you have rap albums. So is this where that kind of came in? Did you create that rap album kind of in college, or where did that happen?
Well, my album didn't really get finished until around 2005. Just in my head, I was putting it together for many years, for probably 10 years. Just I had little different songs, little different verses. I had one of those composition rhyme books that all the rappers have, where they write all their rhymes in. And I was like, yeah, one day I'll do something with that, but I always had it. But it wasn't until 05, 06 that I actually was like, you know what, I need to record this, so, I finally got it done and put it out. And I'm really proud of it. It's really nice to have just a notch on my belt that's something different, something unexpected that people just meeting me or wouldn't think that I would have done. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of vulgar stuff. I mean, it's some stuff I don't want my daughter to hear just yet because she's only 12. My wife just kind of rolls her eyes when she hears it too. She's like, "Oh, well, yeah, that's back in your pimping days, huh?" Like, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, but what happened with college? Yeah, I did get a full ride to college. You mentioned that. I didn't mean to gloss over it. So I got a scholarship to college, but I got kicked out of college. I only went for a year. I got kicked out because I got in some legal trouble. So I thought it was a good idea at the time to use checks like a credit card. So I didn't know anything. I was like 18. It's my first bank account. I'm a freshman in college. You know how broke you are. You're like calling at home, like begging your parents for money to buy pizza and stuff like that. So I had a checking account, and what I would do, let's say I wanted something that cost $100 and I had $20 in my checking account. I would just write the check and be like, I'll just put the money back in there later or whatever, like. So I was kind of. Turns out like you're not allowed to do that. So.
No way.
But I was doing that a lot. So I got in trouble and the dean didn't like it, and I had to come back home and start working to pay back all the money or whatever. And I just never stopped working. And I was able to, even though I didn't have a college degree, I was able to work my way up by just hard work and determination. Just at every company I've worked for, I was able to kind of move up and become successful even without the degree.
It's funny when you were talking about the check thing. I don't know if you ever watched Perfect Strangers growing up, but I did. And I remember when Balky, he's a foreign guy. He got some checks for the first time, and he didn't realize that you couldn't do that either. Just because you had a check doesn't mean you had the money.
So you're saying I'm Balky right now?
No, I'm just saying that's what. That's the first thing that come to my mind, because I remember he's like, I have checks. I don't know if you remember that or not. But
I love that show. I loved that show. I loved how annoyed Cousin Larry would be with his antics. I mean, it was fantastic. There's Standing Tall. Like those are.
Oh yeah.
Those theme songs are just so good. We don't have stuff like that anymore. But So that was me. I was just like, oh, checks. I can buy anything I want. I went to the mall. I think I bought a $300 leather jacket, knowing I had like $50 in my account. I'm like, I'll just next time I get money, I'll just put it in there. It's fine, whatever. It's just, even the cops that arrested me were like, "What are you thinking about?" They're like, seemed like a good idea at the time. You live and you learn. So
right. Yeah, I don't know why that was the first thing that came to my mind, but it was just kind of funny. I just remember him writing a check for the couch, and he didn't have the money for it. Oh man, I want to talk about TikTok a little bit, but I want to talk about this because you wrote a book and I need to look at this book. But can you tell us a little bit about it? Because I didn't realize that you actually wrote a book. What's going on there?
Oh, wow. I'm so glad you asked about the book. I have always loved writing. I was inspired by my mother. She would always write down her dreams. So she kept a notepad by her bed. And as soon as she woke up, you know how when you wake up, you forget your dreams really quick. But my mom would wake up and immediately try to write it down while she could still remember. And she would have these amazing stories. And she would kind of use that as like my bedtime stories. She was like, "Oh, I got a good one for you tonight." And they were just so crazy and imaginative. And I always thought, like, you know what, I'm gonna write down my dreams, or I'm gonna get that out to people somehow. So I had in the back of my mind I wanted to write a book my whole life, and I finally got it done when I was 40 years old. It took that long, but one of the reasons I stopped procrastinating and finally did it was because I wanted to leave. I was thinking about my funeral and my eulogy. I know that sounds very morbid, but hear me out. So I didn't want the person giving my eulogy to say, "Yeah, Mikail was great. He was a husband and a father, a good friend, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. So drinks are in the next room." Like, I wanted them to be able to say something about my legacy. Like, I wanted to leave something other people can share and have forever, even when I'm gone. And I figured a book was a good way to do that. So now they can say, "Hey, if you want to get a peek inside his imagination, here's his book." I'm so proud to have published author in my kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, repertoire?
Quiver?
I don't know. But
Yeah, repertoire.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad that's one of the things I accomplished. It really just feels good. It's just one of those bucket list things that I've checked off that, okay, I got that done. I don't feel like so much of a loser. I've done something. I've accomplished something that a lot of people haven't before. And again, going back to the never finishing college, I needed to accomplish other things just to validate myself, just to give myself self-worth. Because I was like, okay, I don't have a degree. All these other people have degrees, but okay, maybe they didn't write a book. So maybe they don't have an album. I wanted to have other creative avenues to set myself apart from other people that just did everything right that their parents told them to do and went to college and did all this. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, and it's funny because the video that made me really want to have you on here and really want to talk about this whole thing was the fact that you were talking about success, and when you said what you said, it was just like the definition of the show. I was like, I have got to have him on here. I've been watching you for a while. I'm always, every time you have a video on, I always laugh a little bit, or there's a little bit of, hey, this is how I would handle this, or you just need to be a good person. And then there's the videos of you cooking and videos of you with the wig on, which is you have so many different varieties of things. But what I really genuinely see is that you really care about people and that you're really willing to just put yourself out there and talk about that. That's kind of exciting. What drives you to do those videos? What kind of got you into TikTok?
Well, I wasn't supposed to be on TikTok. I have a daughter, Victoria. She's fantastic. I love her to death. And she was always on that app. She was always on, I think back then it was called Musical.ly. And, I think they got bought out or something happened. But she was always on it ever since we got her first cell phone. And I was like, you know what? There's a lot of child predators out here. There's a lot of people, trying to prey on children. I need to protect my child. Let me download this app and just not create a, flashy profile. I won't even put a picture up. I just want to follow my daughter, make sure she's not doing anything inappropriate or ratchet, or make sure, the wrong type of strangers aren't talking to her and all this and that. So it started off just doing that. And then I just got hooked on it. And I just would scroll through it and lose time and go, wow, I see why she's on it so much. And now I'm on it more than her. And it's just funny how that happened. But it started off pretty innocent, just little stories about my job or little things that would happen to me. I had no idea that many people would be interested in the stuff I do. But I found that when I would work really hard and try to get the production value up and think really hard and write stuff down, and that people wouldn't really care about that. They just wanted to see real, raw, just, my personality, just telling the truth, and they wanted more of that. So, and it's just kind of, they appreciate what happens organically, things that really happen
Right.
and things they can relate to. If I post a video and somebody in the comments goes, yeah, that happened to me, or, oh, I know all about that. Like, oh, we're all living the same life. Oh, that's the same in my household. And you get a lot of engagement in the comments. I was so happy about that. I said, oh, I need to do more stuff like this. So you'll see in a lot of my videos, I'll post something controversial that I know for a fact is going to get people talking and kind of healthily arguing with each other in the comments. And I just sit back and go, yep, I did it. That's what you want to do. So
Yeah, and it's authentic. That's what I like about it. It's authentic. You can tell, where your heart is really. I mean, even like you said, when you post the stuff that's controversial a little bit, you can tell where you're at, what you're trying to do, and how you're trying to reach people. I've seen a couple stories where I'm trying to think. What are some you rescued a turtle once, right? You've what else have you done? Like the FedEx stuff, when you talk about like putting packages and hiding them from people, and then people accusing you of stuff like, hey, where were you yesterday? There's just funny stories that totally are true, and we know they are, but you only see it because that's what you do.
Right. And I'm real careful not to put anybody's address or I try not to use real people, and I just kind of recreate it like a dramatization or reenactment or something like that. But yeah, all that stuff happens to me. It's really me. Like all the good deeds I do on camera, that's just who I am. It just happens that I work for FedEx, so FedEx has been able to kind of capitalize on just who I am as a person,
Right.
with all the free press I've been giving them. Because when I do a good deed, because I'm usually in my FedEx uniform because I'm there so much. The turtle thing, you wouldn't believe how much slack I caught from saving this turtle. I mean, I thought I was doing a great thing. I would just be like the nation's hero, right? I saved this turtle from
Right.
being ran over in the street. I took him to a lake, and he ran off, off into the sunset. He looked happy, and people were like, "You carried him wrong," or "What if he was going somewhere and you interrupted him?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?" But I just I'm kind of new to all this stuff, the social media, and it took me it took me a while to realize that you can't please everyone, and that even if you have thousands of people appreciating what you do, you're gonna have like a group of people that are go, "Yeah, you didn't do it right," and that's okay. A wise person told me that if you have a bunch of haters, you're doing something right, because more than likely they're projecting or they're jealous, or something like that. So when you think about it that way, I mean,
It's still hard to deal with, but I completely agree with that. I had that same kind of thing. I had a comment on one of my TikToks this week, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I was just like, you know what? Any attention is attention, right? Whether it's negative or positive. On the same token, they have something really going on in their life that they feel the need to tear someone down for doing something positive. It is tough to deal with, but still, I'm trying to work on myself, not giving that weight to people, to allow them to get what they want by manipulating the way that I feel, because they're not willing to do it.
Hey, you hit the nail on the head with that. You can kind of see the progression of my maturity. If you just go to my earlier videos, I would respond to every single comment. I mean, because to me, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not famous or whatever. Like if you were on, like, I don't know, Will Smith's page or something like that, somebody who's mega famous, or Brad Pitt, whatever, and you comment under there, you're really commenting for the other people to talk to you. You're not expecting Will Smith to, reply to your comment. And
Right.
I didn't realize that. So I didn't realize that people were looking up to me, like, "Oh, you're the creator of the video. Like, you actually responded to me." Like, so when people used to disagree with me, I would say, "What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. What do you mean?" And then I just was like, "Man, you know what?" I took a step back. I was like, "Wait, what? I don't need to respond to everything, especially the negative ones. Just leave it alone." So recently I just kind of take a step back, and if I see something really kind, I'll thank somebody or engage with somebody. But the negative people, I'll just block them or just ignore it. Because it's all just video views to me. I mean, if somebody tags somebody else on one of my videos and says, "Hey, look at this jerk, he's an idiot," it's still a share and another like for me.
Right.
So even if they're talking about me bad.
Yeah, and that's a thing. It's like it's still got the view, it's still got the like, it's still got someone else to watch it because they shared it, and they really don't understand that they're helping the cause. So whatever.
Yeah.
Couple things that I want to talk about a little bit. Your FedEx job. You recently did kind of like a fundraiser for your boss, which was really cool. This is part of the whole deal that I see that just inspires me to see that you're just kind of just this good person. I just love the kind of vibe that you give off. You did a fundraiser for your boss he seems like he's a little bit like you because he wouldn't even take the money to go on vacation, right?
Oh man, this guy, he's so exhausting in the best kind of way. He's just fantastic. He has done so much for me. He's the best boss I've ever had. I mean, and I've probably had 15 jobs, but this guy is just different. He's special. He cares. He's really fair, and he really cares about you as a human being, about your family, about how you're doing, how he can help you. He works harder than all the employees when he doesn't have to. But yeah, I wanted to do something nice for him, but he just doing something nice for him is doing stuff for other people because we're so similar. Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. I mean, it raised, gosh, I think $1,400 or something in just 4 days. And he told me to cut it off. He was like, "Oh, let's stop it. This is too much. This is embarrassing. I don't want all this attention on me. You got to stop it. This is too much." So that's why I kind of abruptly cut it off. Yeah, you should have seen it. I was crying. People in there were crying when he was giving out those laptops because it just came out of nowhere. His generosity was just it was really inspiring. I mean, just seeing people just thank him and hug him, and so it was great. I was just glad I was able to just facilitate it and just watch it. But yeah, I think going forward, me and him might have a competition about who can do the best good deeds. Yeah, I'm telling you, if I had more money, Wes, I would do so many things. There's so many things I want to do. Yeah. For people, but I just don't have the money. And yeah, I could probably raise it and do another fundraiser, but I don't want to just annoy people with doing fundraisers all the time. It's really great. I mean, I have to be creative, right, Wes? I mean, I'm not a girl who can just, jiggle my boobies around on TikTok and get millions of views. So I have to work harder. Like, I have to be creative. I have to be funny. I have to be, innovative. So my thing is, you know what? I'm just going to kill people with kindness. I'm just going to, because people eat that stuff up. I mean, there's so much bad press that FedEx drivers get, and I'm glad that I was able to show that, hey, like, not all FedEx drivers are jerks. We're just regular people, just like you. We're hardworking people, and we have big hearts. Some of us care about our community. A lot of us care about our community and the people in it and what we do. And I'm just trying to film a little bit of that, just to show people that, there's still some good out there in the world.
So let's talk about the big one.
Okay.
Man, I don't know how long ago this was. It was a couple months ago, right? I was watching a video and you were talking about how a kid came up to you and asked you if you could mail something for him. And just knowing who you are, when I saw this story, I was not like, it didn't surprise me that you were like, hey, this is what I need to do. Like, I'm not, this kid wants you to mail the skateboard to Tony Hawk that he's totally used and shredded on, and it's like well worn out, but he wants Tony Hawk to have this thing. And so you just took it. How did that, tell me about this story. Tell everyone about this story.
All right. Well, I was just doing my delivery route. I've had the same route for 3 years, and I believe it was back in May that it happened, but I was just minding my business, driving down this neighborhood street, and I look in my rearview mirror and I see this little boy chasing down the truck. And my immediate thought was, oh crap, I messed up. I ran over his skateboard. I clipped a mailbox. I ran over somebody's pet. I did something wrong. Who chases down a FedEx truck like that? So I stop. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, hey, do you know who Tony Hawk is? I'm like, of course I know who Tony Hawk is. And he's like, well, can you mail him something? Can you mail something to him for me? And I was like, well, yeah, sure. And I'm thinking that he's like, I'll be right back. And he runs in the house. And I'm thinking he's going to go get a package, like a regular package. And I'm in the back of my head, I'm thinking, no way this kid has Tony Hawk's address. But whatever. He comes back with a beat up skateboard. Like, yeah, this skateboard is really beat up, it's really used and worn. I wonder if you could send this to Tony Hawk for me. And I was like, oh, me? Like, man, I didn't want to break the kid's heart. I didn't want to just tell him, like, yeah, that's not how it works, kid. Like, this is, you have to, uh, you have to do it the proper way. But his mom was in the backyard looking at me like, hey, wink, wink, like, don't break my kid's heart, play along, and his older brother was right there. And he said, I taught him how to skate to begin with. And Cooper, the kid who was asking me to ship the board, he was saying like, hey, you're really going to get it to Tony Hawk, right? So I have all this pressure, all these people looking at me. So I couldn't let him down. I had to try something. At that point, I think I had 150,000 followers. And I said, you know what? They've been great. They're really positive. They're really nice to me. I have great followers. I said, let me just put it out there. So I just put it out there in the universe and said, hey, if anybody knows Tony Hawk or knows some of his people, or, if he hears this, hey, you got a little fan. And I just asked Tony to give him a shout out. I just was like, hey, Tony, if you hear this little boy is a real big fan, just maybe give him a shout out or something like that. And then I had no idea that he was going to make me look that good and come through with the assist and just, mail the kid a skateboard and all this stuff. It's just amazing. I mean, Tony Hawk is just, not like other celebrities. He's a lot more down to earth. He was just talking to me and texting to me, and he was like, yeah, I want to pay for all the shipping. I'll do everything. I want to, take care of the kid and all this. And I was just so happy I was able to just be there when he got the board and make lifelong friends with the family. The parents are so cool. We've had them over our house. We went over their house for the 4th of July. Every time I stop by the house, if I have a delivery in the area, I'll just stop by and play with the kids. Yeah, I'm like an uncle to these two kids all of a sudden. It's great. It's great. And I haven't heard really anything negative about the situation. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, and it's, we talked about this other day, but that kid will remember that always. You will always be someone who connected him with someone that was a great hero to him. So, and you became that hero for him as well. That's just such a great story. And that's what I like about you, is it's just so genuine, and you just really are willing to help people. So that's how I know that it's not fake. It's not false. It's something that genuinely comes from you.
Yeah, you know what? I wish everybody felt that way. There's some people that think, FedEx is like paying me to go out and do good in my community. And I think that would be fantastic. I would love that job. I think that's a great idea. I've actually reached out to FedEx and asked them if I could do that. I said, hey, if you want to just spread positivity and, about your brand, and I would love to do this full time, just go out in the community and do good stuff for people and film it. And, they shot me down. I don't think they really have people there that are kind of young and kind of hip to what a campaign like that could do for their image. I didn't really do it for that. I just did it just because it was the right thing to do. I do it because I want to make people smile. There's so much going on right now, Wes. I mean, obviously there's a pandemic. There's people arguing about politics, racial injustice, all kind of stuff going on. So I was just happy that we're able to use social media in a positive way to connect with one another and make that kid's day. So that's what it's all about. And I figure, with or without FedEx's help, I'm going to keep doing it. And because the reward is just seeing the look on people's faces.
Yeah, well, you definitely inspire people. So I hope that, we talk about, the other day I talked about it. I have a friend, Dave Connery, who is on TikTok as well. He's an artist, but he talked about this hater math thing where we give way too much weight to the hate. And it seems like for every 200 positive comments, we have a negative one, right? And we let that negative one own the situation when we've done so much good with those other 250, or the other, there's more positive than negative. I hope that you don't ever let that get to you. And I know it's a process. I know it's not easy, but just, there are people out there who really believe in you, and you need to just try and think about that more than I struggle with the same thing. So it's tough, man, but you're doing good, and I love it.
I needed to hear that. I really did. That really means a lot to me that you would say that, Wes, because I do go through that. I had a video, I don't know if you've seen it, where I thought this lady's house was going to catch fire because she forgot to put out a cigarette on her porch, and it was about to catch flames. There was a lot of smoke, and I went and put it out with her garden hose. I was just driving by on my delivery route, and there were some people in the comments like, just shut up and deliver my package on time and stuff like that. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I'm trying to save the day here. Like, I can be a friendly neighborhood delivery guy and deliver your package. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because I know that I'm doing the right thing and that people really enjoy it and the people really appreciate it.
Well, it's been great talking to you. We do a last question, and I talked to you a little bit about this the other day. First thing though we do here is we have a last question sponsor. So I'm going to run through that real quick. Before we get to that though, can you tell us, I know you're on Instagram and you're on TikTok, and is there anywhere else we can find you? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have any places that you want to get people directed to? I'll definitely put it in the show notes and make sure that people can get there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my Instagram is really just for my dog. So people, if you like dogs, you can follow me at Ruby Doobie. Really, my TikTok Fresh to Death and my YouTube channel Fresh to Death, and that's Fresh the number 2 DEAF. And you can buy my book Rangoon. It's on Amazon. It's a supernatural thriller. A lot of twists and turns. It's a page turner, and it's a quick, easy read. You'll love it. But yeah, that's it. I mean, and I do respond when you reach out to me. So if you want to talk to me about anything, just message me, and I'll get back to you.
And that's the one thing that I will say about you is that I have reached out to multiple people on TikTok. I've had I've probably had 5 or 6 guests. You by far have the most followers out of everyone, and you were just so quick to respond. Hey, let's do it. And I really appreciate that.
Oh man, are you kidding me? Dude, your podcast is going to be bigger than Joe Rogan's. This is great. I mean, it's so positive. I mean, yeah. Shaping success. I mean, it's just, you couldn't pick a better topic. Yeah, man, yeah. This is going to be big. I'm glad to know you because I just want you to remember me when you're famous, so.
Oh. Yeah, we'll definitely get together, like you said one time, and have a beer because I think that'd be awesome. All right, well, we're going to get to the last question here. Our last question sponsor this episode is the Warriors Collection. The contract expired, but the oath didn't. Visit Warriors Collection at Warriors_Collection_ for some awesome gear. I wear some of these shirts and clothing sometimes. And if you would like to sponsor the last question, go to tvpbn.com/channel/SS to sponsor the last question. The person who donates the most money every week will be the last question sponsor. So, Mikail, it's been awesome having you on here. The last question is, success is different from everyone else. And I think you pretty much said this in that TikTok video I found you on. When it's all said and done, how do you define your success?
Success to me is, I can only speak for myself, Wes, but success to me is having a happy and healthy family and being able to take care of them without having to go out every day and do something that you hate. And the way you do that is to take risks and take chances and think outside the box and put yourself out there and to do things that might be outside of your comfort zone. I didn't realize that I was meant to entertain people until I was 40 years old. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm enjoying the success. And if I could give one little tidbit of advice to everyone is to don't put all your eggs in one basket as far as your hustle. I mean, I make a little bit of money from a lot of different places. So That way you'll never be broke. I make a little bit of money from my book. I make a little bit of money from my music. I make a little bit of money from TikTok, and then I have my normal job. So you never just want to just focus on one thing, spread yourself out because you'll never know what you're good at until you try it.
That's a great definition, and I think that it's one of those things. You have to throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see which one sticks first. One more thing I wanted to say, because you've talked about your family a little bit, and I haven't brought that up, but you have a daughter and a wife that you're very proud of. Do you want to say anything to them, or do you have anything to say about them?
Oh, I love my family so much. Yeah, I've been married to my beautiful wife Clarice for 15 years, and we have one child, my daughter Victoria. She's in seventh grade, doing the home digital learning right now. Interesting because she takes band and she's up there playing her trumpet on a Zoom call with her band teacher, which his name is Mr. Tankersley as well, which is it's
Oh,
Twilight Zone stuff.
wow.
So I don't know if you have a brother who's a band teacher in seventh grade in
Not
Laverne,
in Georgia.
Georgia, but okay, okay. But yeah, they're great. They're great. My wife has a very flexible job, so she's been able to work from home and help my daughter with the transition of just working, doing school from home. So they're great. They're upstairs, giving me my space. I'm in my man cave. My wife's probably upstairs watching 90 Day Fiance. But yeah, they're really good.
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's getting late over there. Well, I'm going to try and have you on again because I think that you have a lot of good stuff to go. And I know that in the future, there's going to be more to come from you. I feel like there might be another book. There might be some really good stuff coming here. So thank you for taking the time.
Oh, no, thank you, man. It was my pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. And if I do have anything new and big, you're going to be the first person I call.
That's awesome. Well, hey, everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is the end of the show. If you can do me a favor, like I said in the beginning, if you are watching this on Facebook Live, please share the video. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please give it a 5-star review and a great rating. I want to thank my sponsors, Aggressive Marketing Solutions and TVBPN. Until next time, I want to challenge you to find a shape of your success.